Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that, but you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go! And welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The podcast that feels like a miracle and then you realize it's really not. That's Chad Ekowitz.
And that's Simone the Rue. I thought you were going to say, and then it's really just Satan, which I'm very happy with.
We got a sweet deal, guys.
Oh, man. Could you imagine? Okay, so if you were, you know the old legend of the Crossroads, right? So you come to a crossroads, you bury the bones of an animal, devil appears, he offers you whatever. What would be the thing that you would ask for? So you're at the crossroad.
I don't fuck with devils. That's the first mistake right there. I'm not making no deal. And I know you, Chad, I know you would have a ready drawn up contract.
Oh yeah,
for
straight
any
up.
loopholes, any fuck ups. You'd be like, yes, one soul, but like, let's talk about the nature of the soul in sections 34 through 38.
Yes, there would be an addendum and schedule to the deal. Yeah, 100%.
The drag me to hell clause,
Yeah, there would be hellhounds of a certain size that are allowed to come after me. Anything bigger than that's just null and void. Yeah, straight up.
And then it just turns into a great big legal battle and you win by exhausting it.
by exhausting the devil.
Or the Crossroads demon or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever it is. Yeah. I completely agree with you. And that's how I win. That's how I know that I'm a good lawyer, is when I bore the Crossroads demon to death.
He's like, yeah, just take whatever you want.
But yeah, I would never be needful things into anything like that. That's insanity. I've never understood sort of like that be careful what you wish for thing. Like you can, like, it's quite easily circumventable, you know, if that's a word.
This is actually why you studied law, to be able to make pacts with supernatural entities.
That is actually it. I need to say that in the next interview I do. I'll just like that's the reason. Yeah. That's why we learn Latin as well. It's so that we can summon demons.
Oh my God! It all comes together.
It all makes sense, right?
Lawyers, more sinister than you thought.
And speaking of more sinister than we thought, thank you for leading me into that one. I had nothing. What are we doing this week, Simone?
Did you make a deal with the Crossroads demon so that you could have amazing segues?
That was it. And I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for those hellhounds. They're coming. They're coming.
Worth it.
So worth it. But you line him up and I hit him. That's why this is such a good dynamic.
Yeah, I too made a deal to have a middling movie review podcast with honestly the best listeners, though.
Oh yeah, straight up. You guys were amazing. Yeah. Crossroad demon or not.
Yeah. Okay. So today we are doing a cheeky horror episode. It is the middle of July. It's actually 4th of July today, and Chad and I are like, no, it's time to get spooky.
Absolutely.
It is the middle of winter here, so that's pretty tracks spooky for me. I'm feeling the spooky vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in the UK, everything is, you know, a hellscape, so it's very spooky over here. You know how it is. But yes, I do feel like if we were the president of the world, co-presidents of the world, every day would be Halloween. And I feel like a lot of people would now kind of get behind that.
Yeah, I think people are ready for it.
Yeah, it does feel like on a 4th of July episode we should be doing sort of like those big blockbusters that kind of failed, you know, given that like Jaws and Star Wars and all of those kind of got released this weekend. But for us, our big blockbusters are always horror movies. I mean, this is why you know we became, you know, we started this podcast. It was technically over a horror movie, so you know why not keep that ball rolling. So this week we are going to be doing The Unholy from 2021 and also Shook from 2021. It's the worst horror movies of 2021, everyone. How
The
fun.
worst movies of 2021 so far.
So far. We gotta, it's not even halfway yet. Well, technically.
No. Eh.
Around about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before we get into it, what are you drinking this week, Simone?
Having a water. Because the alcohol ban is back, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't felt like bootlegging just yet. So I've been of clean and sober habit the last week and feeling great.
Is the reason that you haven't bootlegged because you don't have any toothpicks or fedoras in your house right now? Like, and you just need to get those things first?
Yeah, and I need a new Tommy gun as well for the getaway.
Yeah, I heard you had to ditch that other Tommy gun pretty fast, see? And so now
I love it.
I mean, I can just see you. I think you would thrive in that era. Just, as the first female, gangster bootlegger, you would absolutely kill it.
Chad,
No?
you know how I feel about confrontation, first of
yeah.
all. Second of all, I don't know. I feel like people just smelled then, and I don't know.
Not your diet.
I'm happy now. I'm very much not like, I was born in the wrong
oh my god
era. Like, I'm very happy where we are. If anything, further in the future. Maybe, I don't know, actually, how things are looking grim.
Yeah, we don't have much time left. Maybe like if you were 40 years in the future, we would just be like a burning husk of nothingness.
Yeah. Who's to say?
Exactly. Yeah, just be happy with where we are. Absolutely. Lovely message.
Yeah.
For me this week, I am drinking a Thatcher's Rosé because I am not basic enough. So there's
a canned rosé.
Yeah, it's a canned rosé. I mean,
lovely.
I might as well have like a little chihuahua in my Louis Vuitton bag. These things go together. But there is a little bit of a story behind it. So my student of 3 years let me go for the summer this week. He was like, let's resume in September, just because, it's the summer holidays, whatever. And they bought me a lovely 4-pack of Thatcher's Rosé. So I was like, I'll throw out a holler to young Alex for the lovely, delicious rosé that I am now drinking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And I mean, this
delicious.
Is one of it is. Oh my god, it's so refreshing.
What a
Good
great
Lord.
summer beverage. I love a rosé on a nice summer's day. Nothing better.
Brilliant. And it's very rare that on this podcast a cider rosé would win out the day. This is a monumentous occasion.
Yeah. So why don't you get the ball rolling with Shook?
I'm very happy that we're doing Shook first, to be fair. I want to get this out of the way so that we can move on to a half-decent horror movie. Okay. A small town in California has recently been hit by a serial dog murderer who is making pet owners fearful for their little doggos' lives. Unfortunately, the dog murders escalate to human murders after a social media influencer is murdered whilst doing a makeup promotion. One of the dead woman's friends and fellow influencer, Mia, played by Daisy Tutor, is pretty broken up about it, but she and her friends, who are all also influencers, decide to host a live on Instagram to eulogize their dead friend. Unfortunately, at the last minute, Mia has to pull out because her sister, Nicole, played by Emily Goss, needs Mia to look after her dog while she goes to San Francisco. Things are a little iffy between Mia and her sister because their mom got really sick a couple months ago from a disease and then died. Mia was never around to help look after their mum, so Nicole is sufficiently pissed at her for that. To make things worse, the disease their mum has is hereditary, and Nicole has it, but Mia does not. Which means that Mia will have to look after Nicole one day, and Nicole, knowing how Mia was with their mum, isn't super hopeful for the prospects of Mia actually stepping up. So, on the night of the dog sitting, all of Mia's friends are begging her to come over and do the live feed. Mia says no, but her friends are super persistent. That is until Mia gets a call from their next door neighbor, Keelan, voiced by Grant Rosenmeyer. He's kind of a creepy guy, a bit of a stalker, so Mia gets some weird vibes from him. To make things worse, he starts to ask about Nicole's dog, who has suddenly gone missing. Mia is getting more and more creeped out by Keelan until finally he admits that he has taken Nicole's dog and will murder it. To make things even worse, Keelan starts to torture Nicole, asking her questions about her mum and the fact that she wasn't there for her. Every time Nicole tries to leave the house or call the cops, Keelan escalates things. He has somehow been able to kidnap all of Mia's friends and is now torturing and killing them if she does not comply with his wishes. Finally, as her last friend dies, Mia is told that it was all a big joke. Her friends were playing a prank on her because she bailed on them, plus someone paid them a lot of money to do so. Mia is rightfully pissed off and is going to give them a massive talking to when they arrive at the house. Unfortunately, they never arrive. She starts getting threatening calls to get her from Keelan again, but she does not believe it's real because of the prank before. That is, until she sees that her friends are actually dying in her house. She starts to freak out, but tries her best to save them, fulfilling all of the torturous things that Keelan is asking her to do. Eventually, Mia is about able to locate where the calls are coming from in the house, and as she opens the cupboard to the secret room, the corpse of her dead mum drops out. She then learns that the caller has actually been her sister the whole time. The reason behind her sister's, I know, it's crazy. It blew my mind. I didn't see it from the first. The reason behind her sister's actions for torturing and killing her friends was to basically teach Mia a lesson in being there for the people she loves, apparently. Nicole had also paid all of her friends to prank her to really drive home the lesson. Because Nicole also has the disease, she really doesn't care anymore and wants to cause as much pain to Mia as she possibly can. In the end, Nicole and Mia have a big physical fight, and it looks like Mia kills Nicole and is able to get away. That is, until we see in the final scene, Nicole rise up and stare directly into the camera of the phone that has been recording the event the whole time. The end.
Chad, what's your cliffhanger here?
For this golden Shangri-La of a movie. It has to be this one, and it's the scene after she jumps off the balcony and breaks her leg.
Yeah.
And then like her and Nicole are just chilling, having a fat chat, like on the bottom there. Like, not that she has broken her legs and should be in the most pain ever, screaming or passed out. She's just very happily talking.
This movie has a really weird relationship with pain where like Mia's like really screaming at some things that like you're like, okay, that's not that bad. And then other things where it's like you should be actually writhing in agony. She's like just chilling. It's very confusing. Like there's the scene she has to inject herself with all this stuff. And she's like every time she like plunges a needle, also at 90 fucking degrees, I won't get into it, into her arm. Every time she like plunges a needle into her arm, she's like, it's like, girl.
Like, I was watching that scene and I was so confused because like, why would you plunge it so deep? Because she really like goes for it, and there was nothing in the rules. I think it goes back to what we said about like Truth or Dare, and the fact that like the reason that Truth or Dare was so good is like the way they got around the tricks and stuff like that,
following the letter. And
exactly. So like seeing Mia like stab herself with like 10 needles and just like going so deep and then pressing the plunger, like she could have just done like skin level, gold, fine, sorted, but no. And then jumping off, like, also I know you said you're not going to get into it, but the science of trying to break your own leg with a bat, you can't do it.
Your body simply does not let you do that, like unless you're actually like having like a full mental breakdown. And you get like hysterical strength, like your body will not let you hurt yourself that much. Like there are like psychological barriers in place. The smart thing to do would have been to jump off the balcony just to start with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's no way you're ever gonna be able to hit yourself hard enough with a baseball bat as a tiny girl to like break your own leg.
Absolutely not.
I was just like, okay, is this the most logical way for you to break your leg? Like
in a minute as well. It was completely nuts. Like that whole scene did make me laugh a lot because she like goes to the chair or like the Zimmer frame and she's trying to like break it through the Zimmer frame. And like one of my favorite facts of all time is like the strength it would take to chew through your own finger is the same as like sort of biting through a carrot, but your brain just doesn't allow it. And it's the same kind of vibe for that. Like you are so right. Like
you're never gonna hit yourself hard enough.
No. And like the angle as well. It was just brilliant. It was so comical.
I feel like there was some good stuff in this movie, right?
Okay.
Like there were some interesting things at play. Like it was kind of cool that the villain, like I thought that the motivations of the villain were actually very interesting, that like she felt
Mm-hmm.
really abandoned by her sister at a really hard time. And
Right.
then also the fact that she knows she's going to go through this illness alone, and she
Yeah.
doesn't feel like she can trust her sister to look after her. Those are all like very valid, very scary things that they
Yeah.
barely focus on. They're just like, oh, she's gone crazy. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, but there's like a lot of horror in that situation that you're just not really playing up.
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah. It was
And
such.
then on top of all of that, they're like, oh, this like random made up disorder that they have causes like
Mhm.
personality changes. And
Yeah.
that's why the sister has gone crazy.
It's like, no.
Not really.
Like people deal with death in so many different ways, and that is
Yeah.
how some people deal with sort of, you know, seeing their own
Yeah.
mortality and stuff. And it's like a completely, you know, it's never justified to kill anyone.
Of
Yeah,
course.
but it is sort of understandable where she's coming from. And you are so very right. I think the focus on this movie was so off in it was trying to maybe give like an allegory that, you know, social media has made us care less about our friends and family. But, you know, I would argue that it's actually brought us quite a lot closer to our friends and family in the fact that like we get to
Yeah.
actually see what they're up to. So for example, if you didn't have Instagram, I would not know what the fuck is going on in your life. If we didn't have
Yeah.
this podcast, I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on in your life.
True.
You know, and it's not that I don't care, it's just the fact that
Yeah, it's
we
just-
do live thousands of miles away from each other.
Yeah. No, it's almost like this movie is like two separate movies, right? Like one
Mhm.
is very much a comment on how like how easy it is to fake your life on social media. Like
Yeah.
that was the whole point of like the Friends, right? Like the one girl's actually broke and the other girl and the one dude's like actually a virgin. And
Yeah.
I don't know, are people still embarrassed about being virgins?
I mean, we would have to probably ask teens and other
Yeah,
and
I didn't
virgins,
think
which is a
that
very
was a
weird,
thing.
weird
I don't
thing
think
that we should
I
do.
feel like in Gen Z that's not a thing, but I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it would be weird to ask them. It would be very inappropriate for us to go up to Gen Z and be like, "Hey, you embarrassed about being a virgin? I'm 27."
Is that a thing? Like, you know, in like the 80s you got bullied for, or 90s you got bullied for like not being rich, and now
Yeah.
like it's not really a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I wonder if it's anyway,
Yeah.
it's
Do you-
besides the point. So like half of the movie was like about that and about how no one's what they seem to be online and all of her friends are fake.
Yeah.
And then the other half is about this very complicated relationship she has with her sister, and they don't quite make the
No.
two mix very well. Like there
No.
are two separate movies in there that could be really good and really interesting.
Yeah.
But then they just made one wildly inconsistent movie.
You're so unbelievably right. And you do feel that actually. Like you feel that it is two separate movies because, you know, after you find out like the first half was just a joke, you're sort of like, okay, that's a weird turn of events. I mean, I can see on the timer at the bottom, we're not even halfway through the movie and you're calling this a joke and everything, and like she's pissed.
Yeah.
So there must be something more. So basically what's happening is you're building up, giving us the climax and then bringing us back down, and we've got to start again. And yeah, like maybe it's because I did a bit of research on this as well. The director for this is director and writer. She did both. She is like an award-winning director / writer for short films. She's won like a bunch of awards for short films.
Yeah.
So maybe it is the fact that she was kind of seeing these things as two separate movies and then just kind of like amalgamating them to one to make a feature film. And it felt so different. And I like what you said there about sort of both in their own rights could have been really good, but when you put them together, when you mash them together, misses the point.
Yeah, totally. I mean, to that point, the cinematography and the actual direction wasn't bad at all. Like it was a pretty well shot movie. It was pretty okay production value. The actors did well. It was really just I think it didn't really know what the message was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And as always, I really don't love like the disabled person being made the villain in this story. It's really tired, and I think it does such a disservice to like the really interesting emotional complexities that the story could have had more of.
Yeah, it would have been brilliant, especially because like she murdered her mum. And that was sort of just like, oh, you're a monster. And she's like, I know, but she wasn't our mom anymore. And it's like, no, this is huge. Like
yeah, and even like the fact that when Mia has to choose between her friend and her sister, like, I mean, I was like, obviously you pick your sister and not your asshole friend, but she's like, well, my sister's sick, so she's not gonna live much longer, so she's gotta die. I was like, whoa, let's talk about that for a second.
That's that old train thing, the train track philosophy thing where you switch it from the 5-person to the 1-person kind of thing. Yeah. It was a really interesting thing. I'm glad that you said that you would have picked your sister every time, like to survive and stuff. Where maybe it's because I don't have siblings, but I was just like, yeah, that's actually a pretty sound logic in the fact that like your sister doesn't have that much longer to live. Like it's that was fine in my logic. So that's very interesting.
No, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. Like, to make like a weird value assessment on someone's life like that. Like, no, like, I don't know. That's my sister. And also, you know, it's not necessarily a death sentence, right? Like her sister in theory was on her way to a clinical trial somewhere. Like, you know, there's always the possibility of a cure for her still living like a somewhat quality filled life, right? Like you don't get to make the call for someone else. And also that my asshole friend did just try to steal my boyfriend, so
yeah, no, look, I mean, if it was that's the quandary, right? Like if it was my asshole friends, like yeah, absolutely, you can go to hell. But like if it was you who is a great friend versus my sister who is probably gonna die like relatively soon, you know, like I'm still
so glad you don't have siblings now. Oh my god.
Yeah. Your sister's listening to this episode and she's like, "Yay, Simone is the best. Glad I'm not Chad's sister because I would be dead." Yeah. But like I like what you said as well about sort of the cinematography, the way they did like the projections of the phone screen and stuff. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really well done.
I thought it was pretty.
Yeah, it was a nice little touch that I liked, that they had the live video showing you know, some of the murders and things like that. Yeah, it was an interesting use of the medium, especially because it is quite difficult to portray text that it doesn't become really boring, because if you're just reading texts the whole time, like that's not a movie, that's just, you know, reading a really good Tumblr thread. So yeah, look, it, like you said, I think it's, if it had been 2 separate short films, maybe a sequel situation like 1 and 2, it would have worked nicely because you've got 2 separate messages. But as a feature film, weird vibe. I am
very keen to see what this director does next, though. I think she's got a future in horror. And everybody's got to have their first feature-length film, and she's done it now. And I'm keen to see what she does next, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you swing and a miss. I mean, look at Nick Cage. He just keeps swinging until he hits something. So
and now he's thriving because he's found his genre in weird horror.
Weird horror and Nick Cage. They were born to be together.
Love it. Love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there a scene that could have saved this for you for this one?
One scene, I think like something more. I think it was maybe, this is probably a directorial choice that we don't actually really see her in the same room as her friends at any point in the movie, right? Like, and I think that was supposed to show like how isolated she actually was from them, and like but to that point, it still would have been interesting because she clearly loves these people.
Yeah.
I mean, she fucking breaks her legs for them. I don't know if I would do that for some of my friends.
No, straight up.
No offense, but
no, I completely understand that. Yeah.
I can't break my own leg. I don't know how.
You do know. Jump off a balcony. Come on.
True. Fair. I don't know if I could make myself. That's always what these movies bring out in me. It's just
I could very easily stab myself with a bunch of needles. That's absolutely fine. But breaking bones.
I have done that. It's fine.
Yeah, breaking bones, different vibe. I don't know. Yeah, that gives me the proper
I've never
heebies
broken
and
a
jeebies.
bone.
Have you not?
No, never. Touch wood.
Wow, good on you.
I snapped a bunch of like ligaments and stuff because I'm clumsy. But yeah, haven't broken a bone yet.
I think because you're clumsy and long. I think
I'm gangly. And I keep insisting on doing stupid shit like running in the forest. Like,
oh, you fool. You absolute fool.
With my stupid delicate deer ankles.
I've only ever broken one thing, and that was my little pinky finger. I was playing.
Was it Taekwondo?
No. I was playing rugby, which is probably why I should never play, full contact sports. And as I went for the ball, the other guy kicked it into my hand, and it, broke a finger.
Ow.
But I didn't realize it was broken, so I still went to Taekwondo afterwards, which was a huge mistake. I jumped up and my belt hit my finger, and I like almost hit the roof with pain. So yeah, like I'm glad it's happened. I know the pain. Never again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.
I think I almost dislocated my thumb playing volleyball, and I like almost came like this close to throwing up, and I didn't even properly dislocate it. I just so I don't know. It's just these kinds of situations aren't for me,
Yeah. Stabbing, fine. Breaking, no. That's what we've established.
If the dude if Jigsaw wants to play a game with me, I am losing, sir.
Yeah. How would you feel in like an escape room situation, like the escape room movies? Like how do you
I do love an escape room though. I like solving a puzzle.
Yeah, but with death on the table as well. Like, how do you think you would react in that situation?
Chad, I have anxiety. Like, how do you think I'm gonna react? Although I'm pretty good. Like, if there's a problem that needs to be solved, like I'm fucking on it. As long as I've got something to do,
Yeah.
So who knows? Who's to say?
I do think when I come through next March, we should do an escape room. And I don't know.
Do an escape room.
I don't know whether I should
kill each other.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know whether to fuck with you or take it really, really seriously and just be like, solve it, Simone. Why can't you solve it? Solve it for us, Simone.
Chad, I'll cry.
Just screaming at you the whole time and not doing anything, just throwing things around.
If we add Rudy to the equation, if Rudy comes with, he'll punch you in the face. Like, I have no doubt in my mind. He's super competitive. So they'd be like, oh, like the fastest time is like 43 minutes or whatever. And he'd be like, interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that would also be how we get you involved too. You'd hear the fastest time and you'd also be like, interesting.
Yeah, straight up. I think Rudy and I are going to be good like that, and then we're just like, don't worry about it, Simone. You've got this. Just sit in the corner, see what you can see. We've got this over here. Just the competitive bros doing competitive shit.
Me quietly solving puzzles while you guys like stare at the one irrelevant poster in the whole room.
Exactly, and you've told us multiple times that it has nothing to do with what we're doing, and we're just like,
hey guys,
yeah,
there's a thing here that moves.
Simone,
it's cool. It's cool. I found all 4 keys. I'm unlocking it now. It's fine.
Oh, it's going to be very fun. I can see that. Yeah, I don't think there is one single scene that could like solve this. I think it's a situation of like split it into 2 movies, something like that. I also I like it in my horror movies when like the protagonist sort of like fights back and like gets a bit strong, and in this movie it was like very short. She had like a bit of fight, and then it was like over for her.
Have great final girl energy to her.
No. So I think like if she had a bit more spunk, just fought back a little bit harder, I think I would have really appreciated that.
Also, that scene at the beginning where the girl gets murdered with her own high heel was so incongruous with the rest of the movie and so ultimately pointless.
Oh my gosh. Like, also, as we have learned from Hot Fuzz, you don't die from a puncture wound through the jaw. It's just really, really fucking sore. That's all it is.
I was also wondering, I was like, that's...
Ooh, you're frozen.
the heels were not that high.
Sorry,
Are
you
you back?
froze
Can
there.
you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah, you're so right. I
Yeah,
heard sort of
cool.
the ending of it, so I can just like follow onto it. Yeah, no, you're so right. Like the heels weren't that high. Like I doubt they broke through like her top palate.
Nah, no way.
Yeah.
So at worst, like that's just a really fucking painful injury.
Exactly. I think they didn't have a medical doctor or sane person on the
Just
set.
drive the same shoe through her temple and you're golden.
You're fine. It's not that like far. And like, who was their medical consultant for this? Because they really like. Oh, so would you watch this again?
No, it wasn't like. It had some good bits in there that were interesting, which is why I'm really keen to see where this director goes. But like, it wasn't amazing, and it wasn't in it's so bad it's good territory.
Exactly.
Which is unfortunately where a lot of bad horror falls.
Yeah, no, you're so very right. I think, you know, it's definitely not sort of DeadCon level bad.
No.
You know, it's just sort of there. But you are right. I think this director is going to have a really good career ahead of her, especially if like her short films are already like winning awards and stuff. I reckon, you know, further down the line, she's just gonna knock it out the park. Yeah.
She's clearly got interesting stories to tell. She just needs to be better at telling them.
Yeah, and we all grow with time.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. We live and we learn. Sometimes you write a dud, and sometimes you write the best thing ever. Yeah, it's with time. Yeah, I've got to agree. Not going to watch this again. There are so many more great films on Shudder, and I shall rather watch those 100%.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Tell me about The Unholy, please.
The Unholy. Okay.
Here we go.
Gary Fenn, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, is a down-on-his-luck journalist who recently got ousted as someone who fabricated stories in order to get ahead in his career. He is obviously not doing well. He's working for some really shitty newspaper, and he gets sent to like the middle of nowhere to follow some crappy possible cow mutilation story. He gets there, the story is a total dud. But while he's there in the farmer's field, he discovers a kern doll. These are dolls that used to be planted like back in the 1800s for good luck. The doll is really creepy though, so he's like, oh, if we break it, and like he was like, I can, and then if there are more cattle mutilations, then it feels like there's a curse, like that'll be kind of fun. Breaks the doll, starts driving off into the night drunk as a skunk, almost hits Alice, played by Cricket Brown. Alice is a girl who lives with the pastor, Pastor Father Hagen, played by William Sadler. He adopted her. He is her uncle. She is mute and deaf, and she's lived with him for as long as she can remember, and always lived in the church. He almost hits her, but she runs off into the field and is found kneeling and speaking to the tree where he found the kern doll. It's all very creepy. When he gets her back to the parish and chats to her kind of like semi almost guardian besides the priest, Natalie Gates, played by Katie Aselton. She's like, no, she's deaf and mute, so like she couldn't have been talking. And he was like, no, but I for sure heard her talk. And things start picking up because she is definitely talking again. She is singing, and she says she's being spoken to by the lady, and her name is Mary. Everybody is like, oh my God, Mary, Mother of God, is talking through her. She quickly starts performing miracles, and naturally, as the guy at the center of it, Gary navigates his way to exclusive rights to chat to her and interview her. And he's like, this is it. This is how I get my career back on track. It's like this girl's like straight up performing miracles. However, things start to get dark very quickly. Father Hagen is found hanged in the church. It's presumed a suicide, but something about it just doesn't feel right. There is a bishop, Bishop Giles, played by my boy Carrie Elwes. And he's super keen to just like exploit this whole thing. Like he's like, yes, mega church vibes, let's go, because the Catholic Church is nothing but concerned about everything. Yeah, things get worse. And it finally turns out that actually the Mary that is speaking through Alice is not Mary, Mother of God. It is in fact Mary of Elnor, um, who was a woman who was also burned for making a pact with Satan in the 1800s. Her soul was trapped in the doll that Gary broke, and it's a little awkward from there. So him and Natalie are desperately trying to stop it. Eventually, they do get through to Alice, who realizes that like she's bearing witness to like a false prophet type thing, and she's like, "No, Mary." And then there's like a showdown in a church. The church is burning. Mary tries to kill Alice, succeeds, but because Alice is the last person in her bloodline, Mary dies too. Alice also died defending Gary, who's like super grateful, and he prays to God to bring her back, and it seems like God does.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's now back to being content with obscurity, and it looks like something might happen between him and Katie, and Alice is back to being mute and deaf, but everybody's just happy to be alive and okay. The end.
Lovely. Very nice. So what is your cliffhanger for this one?
My cliffhanger is going to be any of the speeches that Alice makes when she's speaking for Mary. It's
right.
This actress actually Cricket Brown does such an amazing job
Oh my God.
of just being so like sincere and so creepy.
She's brilliant. I think she's got such a great career ahead of her. She's just going to have like the best time because she is so honest in this and so pure. She has that vibe and it's amazing how good she is at this. And yeah, she plays the role perfectly. I think she is the star of this film without a question.
She's very earnest in her portrayal as this girl who like just thinks she's talking for Mary, and the moment she realizes she isn't, she's like, oh no,
I done fucked up, I'm sorry, everyone.
I should have asked more questions.
Oh man. Yeah, like so what are your thoughts on this? Because this is my second time seeing this, and I'm really interested in hearing your opinions on this one.
I thought like there were some bits that I really liked. I always like seeing Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he's great on the screen, and he always plays whatever role he needs to play really well. I think he also did a good job of like not centering himself in this movie, right? Like it's very much Cricket Brown's show.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's like just doing a really great job at like playing second fiddle to her, and like making it that much more exciting and interesting. I also did like the idea of like the false miracles and all of that. I thought that was very cool. So I liked the overall concept. I found the execution a little lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There were just bits that like it didn't really even make sense to include. Like at the beginning, they show from Mary's perspective as she's like having a mask hammered onto her face, and being burned alive. And you know, she sounds like a terrified young woman. It's actually very scary and very difficult to watch. So you immediately feel sympathy for Mary, and it's made very clear that you shouldn't at all. And it's like, cool, but then why
start that way? Why start without any context? Yeah.
At first I thought it was going to be like her getting back at the town that accused her of witchcraft. Or like she started off channeling God's miracles and people were like, it's witchcraft. And like it was, you know, it would be some display about how humanity doesn't know a good thing when they see it, or humanity corrupts everything, you know? Like I thought that was going to be the angle, like a little bit more feminist.
Oh, that's what we can always hope for in modern horror cinema.
It's like, oh, she's the bad guy. She's Irish. I don't know. It's just like, it's pretty immediately obvious what's happening. So it's not like a big mystery. And so you're just kind of waiting for them to figure it out. And then you're like, oh, well done, guys.
Took you long enough.
And Carrie Elwes is way too charming as the bishop to really be that sinister. Like, I don't know. He keeps playing villains and I don't see it.
I don't know. I felt like with that Connecticut accent, I was just like, yeah, you're pure evil. You're pure evil with that. Oh, I'm the father here, and I was like, oh yeah, you are. Oh, your accent is outrageous, and I love it.
He'll always be Wesley to me. So sorry, Carrie.
Oh, that's lovely. At least he's got a really special place in your heart that way.
Of course,
I didn't
he
even
does.
realize it was him, to be honest, until you said it now.
Yeah.
That's actually a really
I
good
think
point.
he's
Wow.
had a lot of work done.
Yeah. Good
And
on
I mean,
him.
age.
Yeah, exactly. We're all trying to fight it off. Everyone knows that.
God, we are.
But yeah, like I agree. And I felt like the biggest problem with this as well is that the monster was just, too CGI'd for me. Like I just didn't feel scared.
Yeah, it wasn't good creature design.
No, there's that scene where she comes like plopping out of the river in the main guy's dream. Fun, but also looked completely ridiculous. And it just like really put it off for me because I was like, what is this crab woman doing? And then she's just gonna jump at the screen and I'm gonna be scared and it's fine. Whereas like that bit where her uncle, where Cricket's uncle comes into the tree and then he's like praying by the tree and he finds the Kern baby and Mary comes out and she's got like the fingers and it's like really tense. That's great. And I mean, we've said that so many times, is don't show the evil creature fully.
And if you're gonna show your evil creature, your creature design better be fucking on point.
Exactly. And I just think they really mistook it here, because if this is supposed to be an evil woman, then why is she less woman-like? I know she's like the devil and she's a monster and everything, but it's 2021. We have better graphics. Like, make it a woman doing these things. Like, that is why we have prosthetics and things like that, and good makeup, excellent makeup. And I just felt that really was really disappointing. What's really interesting about it is the first time I saw this movie, I actually arrived late at the cinema, so I didn't actually see the opening scene where they nailed the thing onto her face. And you know what? That actually made the movie far more interesting because you had that little sense of mystery. So I completely agree with what you're saying in that first scene is completely pointless. If they had just opened up on the guy coming to this town to do cow mutilations, great opening, absolutely epic. But that first scene was just completely misused.
I mean, like I said, it was really upsetting to watch. And I was like, okay, like, this is interesting. Like, this is a cool take on, like, I mean, it also happened in Massachusetts, but like not in Salem, because that's a little on the nose, but like next door. I was like, okay, this is like another interesting take on witch hunts, and they're gonna make some sort of commentary on it because we're seeing things from her perspective. And then not really.
And
she's like, oh yeah, Satan and I are tight.
He's my baby daddy.
They were right. They should have burned me harder.
There is that great scene where Mary confesses to the bishop
with her flawless accent.
Oh, that was like, that scene really just got me in the heart, like the horror.
That was nice.
Cojones. That was so good. And so this movie does have those really lovely bits, and I think as well the sincerity of it, like you say, with Cricket's acting, absolutely sincere, absolutely beautiful. You have those beautiful moments where she and the journalist are chatting about sort of music and stuff,
and he makes her a mixtape.
He makes her a fucking mixtape. It's super cute, and he puts like Billie Eilish and stuff on it. I was like, you're like, be my dad. That's so cute. That's
Daddy
amazing. Daddy Morgan. And so like that's what we enjoy about horror movies. Like, you and I have spoken about this like a lot before, about how horror movies that have those authentic non-scary bits are better than a horror movie that's just constantly terrifying.
Totally.
And so
both.
This one had bones, but their bones were decalcified. I think that's that's how I want to put it.
I think so. I mean, there's even I actually really loved the priest that was her uncle. And he's talking about, like, he's immediately like not happy about these miracles. Like, he's very suspicious, and he's like, because stuff doesn't go well for the people who perform these miracles. Like, I'm so worried for her. Like, and he doesn't care about any of the other stuff. He's just like, I'm really scared for her. And like, lovely, fantastic sentiment. Actor did a great job. God, if only like they had such great actors. They had
Mhm.
some really gorgeous dialogue. I just wish like I wish that a little bit more like heart had been put into the
Yeah.
scary bits of this movie too.
No, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. It is based on a book, so I definitely want to get a hold of a copy of that book and see if sort of how different it
Yeah,
is from the novel,
for
just
sure.
to see sort of where it went wrong and whether it's sort of what went wrong was the original sort of source material, or did they change it and that's what went wrong. I think that would be an interesting thing to look at for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. So what is the scene that could have saved it for you on this one?
Oh God, take out the first scene. Like if you're
Yeah,
not going to do
straight
anything
up.
with it, just don't add it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I like it was just completely pointless.
Mm,
And it really didn't help the movie at all. It actually
no,
made it far
upsetting for no
worse.
reason.
Yeah.
Like I watch a horror movie expecting to be upset, but like if there's no payoff for it, then like why am I here?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're so very right. You're so very right. I think the whole dream sequences just needed to go. Like
Oh
there's no
yeah.
point of having dreams like this.
I
It's
think
so
they were trying to
weird.
make other ways of like find other ways of making this movie scary because like
Yeah.
what was happening just wasn't cutting it and they were not building tension any other way.
No.
So they're like, oh, this is a nice way to get some cheap scares in, and it wasn't
Yeah,
really.
and they could have had so many other great ways. You know, take an example from like The Omen, when the boy kind of finally comes of age and he gets like an assistant from hell who comes to like
Yeah.
babysit him and shit. So one of the priests who comes from the Vatican is actually, you know, a Satanist, and you know,
Yeah.
he's just having like, you know, he's trying to help out Mary. He's not actually there for that, and he's like, yeah, these are miracles straight away. And
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's that would have been cool. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, maybe we should do the rewrite. Maybe you and I should do the Unholy 2, the Unholier.
The Unholier and better.
So would you watch it again then?
No,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't. It wasn't fun, scary. It wasn't like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I've seen it twice now, and I'm pretty happy with that. Twice is enough. And you know, I remember how flippin' excited we were when this trailer came out. We were over the moon for this movie, and it's just a shame that it just didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. Yeah.
Cool premise, great cast, poor execution.
Yeah. Sad times. Right. Well, thank you, Simone. Thank you for a cheeky little holiday for us. I love it when we do these little breaks.
Yeah.
It's so nice. It's so lovely. So what is your gratitude for this week, friend?
My gratitude for this week is warm socks.
Ooh, okay.
I treated myself a little bit and bought a new pack of slightly thicker socks.
You daredevil. You daredevil.
My current sock collection is not cutting it. And I'm so happy. Like I'm unreasonably happy with this purchase of new socks. So yeah, grateful for warm socks. They make all the difference.
Was this the moment that you realized you're old now?
I feel like that's come and gone.
I think it's when you get excited about like baking trays. That's when you're like, yeah, I'm over the hill now. But a good baking tray.
We buy like pre-made soups from the grocery store because like sometimes life is too short. And they had our favorite flavor back in stock for winter. Oh, was very excited.
That is very exciting for you. Like I'm not there yet. I'm not a huge fan of soups. That's the thing. I don't think I'll ever get there. I know you're a huge fan with like a nice grilled cheese sandwich. That's your heaven.
I can eat that every single day.
Yeah, without question. Oh, well, yeah, my gratitude for this week, I don't really know, because there is something, but I'm very worried that some of my present employers listen to the podcast. So I'm not going to say that one. I'll tell you that one off air. So I'm going to go for the fact that it is very warm now. It's getting nice and warm in the UK, which is really nice. I'm actually sweating a bit sitting here, which is nice.
Look
for
at
a
him.
change.
He's dewy.
Oh, that's a wonderful way to describe it. So yeah, like I'm just very happy, you know, the fan's out from the loft, so that's keeping me nice and chilled at night. And yeah, it will just be nice to go out and sit in the gardens and, you know, have braais and drink lovely, you know, rosé and white wine and stuff, and enjoy the few summer months that we do get here.
Yeah, no, you have to.
Yeah, you got to squeeze every moment like that, because they're so few and far between. So yeah. All right, well, what are we feeling like doing next week, Simone? Any ideas?
I actually don't. You
Okay.
had some lined up, ready to go.
Yes, I did. So it is completely up to you. I have 2 ideas for us. So we can either do a Keira Knightley week, or we could do animated movies from our childhood week.
Let's do Keira, actually. I love her so much.
Okay, cool. Well, we have 3 to choose from, and this is completely up to you. So we got Domino, her attempting getting into sort of the comic book hero world.
Yeah.
We have The Aftermath, which I have no idea what that's about. And then the most adorable of all, The Nutcracker and the 4 Realms.
Oh, I've been wanting to see that one. That's very Christmassy, isn't it?
It is. So what are you feeling?
I feel like maybe we can save the Nutcracker for Christmas.
Okay. So do Domino in The Aftermath.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be nice for us to fangirl over Keira. I think we'll have a lot of fun with that. Oh, she's so beautiful and so wonderful. And, you know, she's part of your club, of the square-jawed club.
Yeah.
Look at you. Can cut glass with that jaw. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate you. And every time you listen to us, it fills our hearts with warmth. It's like, you know, in that movie, Guardians of whatever, The Guardians, I think it was called, the Christmas one, where if you don't believe, then, you know, the mythical creatures start to die. It's very much like that for us. Every time you listen, we become more and more into existence. Our existence relies on you. So that's no pressure whatsoever. No. But if you do want to reach out to tell us how much you love us so that we can perpetually exist, where can they do that, Simone?
They can message I do believe in Chad, I do to Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can write a longer form version of that in email and send it to us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, guys. Our continued existence is in your very, very lovely, soft, supple hands. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.